Sand and Blood, Part 1, The Crusade, by the hand of Thomas, son of Gerard, a blacksmith from La Fère, Normandy. I am Thomas, son of Gerard, a blacksmith from the village of La Fère in Normandy. Once, I dreamed only of forging swords and shoeing horses, but war, even when dressed in the robe of God, always finds its way into a young man's heart. And so it was that I became one of those whom history would call pilgrims with a sword. We marched to the Holy Land, believing we were fulfilling God's will. They taught us we were His sword, His wrath, His judgment. But the truth I saw was darker than any church wall. 1. The call, it began in the autumn of 1095. I was barely 17. Pope Urban II had spoken in Clermont, calling on Christians to liberate Jerusalem from the infidels. I wasn't there, but the messengers came through every town and village. They spoke of sins forgiven, of a golden Jerusalem flowing with milk and honey. But most of all, they spoke of salvation. I wasn't particularly devout. I believed in God the way I believed in fire. It's always nearby, but if you touch it, you'll get burned. My father taught me how to hold a hammer and swing a sword, but not how to pray. Still, my heart thundered when I heard the cry, Deus vult. God wills it. I couldn't stay. Neither the forge nor the girl I left behind could hold me. 2. The road to hell we left in spring. First came the mobs of peasants, unarmed and barefoot. Then the knights, proud, glittering, mounted. I joined the army of Count Raymond of Toulouse. We marched through France, Germany, Hungary. In Constantinople, the Greeks eyed us like wild dogs. And truth be told, we were no better. We robbed villages, argued among ourselves, killed schismatics if they refused us bread. Then came the real war, Nicaea, Dorylaeum, Edessa. The battles were bloody, the heat unbearable. People died of thirst, wounds, dysentery. At night, we stole each other's water. Sometimes, we killed for it. Brotherhood in Christ was rare. Hunger and cruelty were not. 3. Antioch. Antioch, a city we besieged for nearly a year. The walls were impregnable, and we starved outside them. We ate grass. Some even ate the dead. I saw a man boil human flesh. Eventually, a traitor opened a gate, and we swarmed inside. But our victory brought no peace. Inside were Muslim garrisons. Outside, the army of Kerboga surrounded us, trapped like rats. Priests claimed they found the holy lance of Saint Michael. Many believed. I did not. Still, I fought and lived. 4. Jerusalem. 2 years after our departure, we reached Jerusalem, July 1099. We stood before its walls, burnt, ragged, nearly naked. But our eyes burned with something worse than sun, a thirst to end it all. The assault lasted 2 days. When we broke through, I walked among the bodies, knee-deep in blood. I killed, like the rest. No one asked names. In the Al-Aqsa Mosque, hundreds were slaughtered. That's when I froze. A boy stood before me, Muslim, maybe 10 years old, holding a scrap of cloth, begging for mercy. I raised my sword and could not bring it down. That night, in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the priests sang psalms, praising the Lord for victory. I stood in a dark corner and wept, not for joy, for shame. I no longer believed God had wanted this. Sand and Blood, Part 2, The Shadow of the Cross, The Confessions of Thomas, years after the war. 6 years have passed since I returned from Jerusalem. The forge rings again. People bring me horseshoes, swords, scythes. Children run when I walk past. I don't blame them. My eyes reflect something they haven't yet seen, something I pray they never will. Each night I touch the scar on my shoulder, where the red cross patch once lay. I tore it off in Acre, before boarding the ship home, but the cross remained, invisible, burning from within. 1. Ghosts, I speak with the dead, or rather, they speak to me. The wind carries the voice of Jeffrey, my friend who died near Edessa. I see the eyes of that boy who reached out for mercy. I remember a Greek farmer we burned for refusing us bread. All of them return, not with anger, but with quiet accusation. I don't know if God has forgiven me, but I know this: I haven't. 3. Atonement, I did not become a hermit. I did not isolate myself. Quite the opposite, I helped build a new chapel in our village. Nothing fancy, just wood, stone, and silence. I was no saint. But when a widow came with 3 hungry children, I forged her a plow. When an old shepherd fell into the river, I pulled him out and sat with him 2 days until he could speak again. I could not undo what I had done in the East, but here I could choose not to destroy. 3. Atonement, I did not become a hermit. I did not isolate myself. Quite the opposite, I helped build a new chapel in our village. Nothing fancy, just wood, stone, and silence. I was no saint. But when a widow came with 3 hungry children, I forged her a plow. When an old shepherd fell into the river, I pulled him out and sat with him 2 days until he could speak again. I could not undo what I had done in the East, but here I could choose not to destroy. The boy one day. A boy entered my forge, black-haired, strong, about 16, said he wanted to learn smithing. I asked why. He replied, I want to be a warrior, but not only with a sword. You went on crusade, didn't you? I stared at him for a long time, then wiped my hands, stood, and said, yes, I went, thinking I served God. But learn from me to forge plowshares, not blades. The earth you till will give you bread. The earth you spill blood on, only ghosts. He said nothing, but he stayed. 5. Confession, these words are my last. I leave them not as a hero. I was no better than the rest. I was blind, hungry for glory and grace I did not deserve. But I learned to face the truth. The cross is not only wood you carry on your back, it's a mark that burns in your chest, and what you do with it determines what kind of man you become. I am Thomas, pilgrim, killer, blacksmith. They may remember us as warriors of God, but I hope they remember us instead as men who finally learned to live without a sword in hand. And may the Lord, if he is truly watching, know this: I no longer ask his will. I ask only this: can the boy with frightened eyes ever forgive me?